So, I'll try to like snip this out or like cut this out for YouTube purposes and put it up on my YouTube channel. Because I have always been interested in like seeing how actually Ina plays FGO. We've known that FGO, or we've known that Ina, at least before she was a VTuber, was a big fat whale, Leviathan, even perhaps, in FGO, and we knew she played FGO pretty religiously, at least at a certain point. Except obviously, I don't know how much she plays FGO nowadays. But this is the first time we're seeing Ina actually play FGO. So I'm actually kind of interested in seeing how she plays to see how much of the game she actually knows. Because it would be very impressive if Ina actually knows how to play FGO, because not many people do. So that's why I'm doing this video, in order to figure that out. So let's take a look then here. So just for some context, this is from a sponsored stream that Ina did, I think yesterday, assuming that I clip out this video from my stream today and put it up tomorrow on my YouTube channel. So yeah, it'll have been yesterday that Ina did a sponsored Camelot stream. So this is the very first fight, because she just started from the beginning of Camelot. Very first fight, up against the two Gazers on wave 1, two Soul Eaters on wave 2, and then an enforcement Camelot enforcement knight on wave 3, a single one. So I think she decided to go with the story Da Vinci, which is kind of weird because in the second fight, she goes with a friend's a Grail, a fully of Grail, a level 100 Ryoma, Sakamoto Ryoma. So it's kind of weird that she decided to take a story Da Vinci for some reason, but we'll work with it. In any case, yeah. So she starts with Musashi. I believe she's MP1, Waver, and Da Vinci. Right, so she starts here. First things first, I will be backseating. Natural, of course. What else did you expect for a video like this? First things first, if you have Waver, you immediately start with Waver defense buff. Especially here, because she realized that she's bringing Musashi, who's a saber, against archers. So that's bad. She probably should have seen that coming. Though obviously she's not fucking staring at like the wiki right now as she plays, so that's excusable naturally. So she recognizes her mistake later, but maybe I'm getting a little ahead of myself here. But she does recognize her mistake later, and she does swap out Musashi, but she doesn't do it right away. If she's gonna do that, she should have done it immediately. Pull out Musashi with Plug Suit and replace her with Kiyohime, is I think who she replaces here later. She should have done that immediately as soon as she saw that she's up against archers. Swap out Kiyohime, or swap out Musashi, sorry, and pull Kiyohime in, and then immediately start using skills. Unfortunately, I think that's not what she does here. Let's take a look at what she does.
They're archers!
Yeah, as you can tell by the audio, she realizes. Alright, so she does not use any skills at all. That is a mistake. Because again, not only did she not swap out Musashi for Kiyohime, but she didn't use Waver's defense buff either. These Gazers hit pretty hard, even though they're only level 35. They're not pushover, or they're not exactly pushovers. They can do a lot of damage, especially if they crit. I mean, these are archers after all. Not only that, but again, archers have only 3-tick MPs in FGO. Or three-tick ultimates. Don't know if we can call them MPs per se, because they're not servants. But in any case, technicalities aside, they still can do quite a bit of damage, especially if they crit. And I think they kind of crit more often than usual. At least it kind of feels like that to me whenever I go up against Gazer enemies. But regardless, yeah, that was like two mistakes that she made right off the bat. Is that she didn't swap out Musashi, even though she knows that Musashi is weak to archers as a saber. She didn't swap out Musashi right away for Kiyohime. That's what she should have done immediately, but she didn't think of that. And, hey Musaki, how's it going, man? Thanks for the raid. We're doing a quick little video for YouTube dissecting Ina's gameplay from her sponsor stream that she did just now. I'm sure you watched it yourself too. So welcome everybody from Musaki's stream. But Yeah, that was two mistakes she made like basically at the same time by doing whatever she did, this arts chain, I guess. And we can dissect that too. But yeah, she didn't swap out Musashi even though she knew, like she even said out loud like, oh, I'm up against archers and I brought Musashi here on accident, or whatever she said. Um and she didn't use Waver's defense buff to at least, help keep Musashi alive a little longer. Because she's going to take, if the Gazers hit Musashi, they're going to do damage. But at least with Waver's defense buff, she's not going to take as much damage, right? It's not like she has a healer anywhere, and Plucksuit doesn't have a healing skill at all. So, like, any amount of HP that you can save with Waver's defense buff is crucial. It's very crucial here. And I believe she did an arts buff here. Also, Musaki, thanks for the 23-month resub, man. Welcome back. We're analyzing Ina's gameplay. Yep, that's exactly what we're doing here. Because I was very interested to see how well she knows how to play FGO. Yeah, so if we fast forward a little bit here, oh, not that far. So she decides on turn 1, she decides to do an arts chain. The logic here is sound. She wants to get Da Vinci's NP, I believe. I think she wants to get Da Vinci's NP because Da Vinci starts with 50% charge. And then, she looks at Da Vinci's NP like, okay, I want to get her NP first, right? Because she's the one closest to it. Here's the problem. First of all, she didn't use Waver's defense buff at least. You always want to usually you always want to start with Waver's defense buff, unless you want to save it for like a turn 2 or something, right? If you know you can get rid of all the enemies on wave 1 immediately and you go into wave 2, then sure, save Waver's defense buff for like turn 2 or something. But if you know you can't kill all the enemies on immediately off wave 1, then usually it's a good idea to use Waver's defense buff at least right away. Because again, preserving your servants' health for as much of it as possible with that when you don't have any healers is very important for their sustain. You want to have your servants like stick around for as long as possible, unless you actually have a reason to like have them die or swap them out for somebody else. But usually, if you don't have any plan like that, usually you want your servants to survive for as long as possible. So yeah, Arch Chain. I think she wants Da Vinci's MP, but she uses Da Vinci's MP first, which, yeah, that's kind of a mistake. Mainly because she uses Musashi's arts card last, and that's just kind of like, what are you doing? If you guys want to know why, Musashi's arts card being put last is a bad idea. At least in this scenario, is the further your cards are in a chain, the more effective they become. Cards go from left to right in terms of efficacy and like efficiency. Your point card, which is the first card you pick, is at the very left. They have the weakest damage, scaling, and the weakest properties in your card chain. Because she's using an arts chain here, let's use arts scaling for example. The game does not tell you this. The game doesn't teach you this at all. So obviously Ina wouldn't have any way of knowing this. But in FGO, for arts cards specifically, arts card damage scaling in an actual card chain, in any card chain, goes like this. It goes from 100% damage scaling, so normal, to the second arts card having 120. And your third arts card has 140% damage scaling. This applies to any arts card, even if it's not an arts chain, because the arts card damage scaling is not exclusive to arts chains. All the arts chain does is just give everybody extra 20% charge. That's it. So the arts card damage scaling that I just elaborated on, the thing that I just talked about, it applies to any arts card in any chain with any like combination of cards, right? Buster cards, quick cards, whatever, you have it. As long as you have an arts card in the third position, it will have a fixed 140% or a base 140% damage scaling. As far as NP generation goes, I'm forgetting the exact NP generation stats for arts cards in different positions of a chain, but those should increase as well. Maybe later I can look up what the exact NP generation scaling is, or maybe even my chat can look it up for me, because the numbers should be there. But generally speaking, some of you guys may already know. I mean, the game itself, if you notice here, if I go frame by frame, after the flash of the blue symbols there, if you see where my cursor is here, like you can the game kind of implies that if in an arts card, or if you have arts cards further along in a chain, it'll say MP up plus plus. So yeah, the game does imply that you are generating more MP charge with an arts card that is further along in a chain. So I think here Ina wanted to give Da Vinci more arts or more MP charge, obviously, but she also wants to start building Musashi's MP charge right away. I get that. That's an understandable statement, but here the damage is not it's not worth it, right? Because remember, Musashi is still doing damage with her arts card, and so ideally with this arts chain, you want to have Musashi's arts card up first instead, and then have Waver in second. That's fine, and then have Da Vinci's card last. So that way, it's Da Vinci who's the closest to her MP gets her MP faster. Not only that, but remember, she didn't use any skills at all at the start of the fight. If I can scroll back to wherever right before she did it. Yeah. So if we go here, scroll back here, 5 seconds. So yeah, she just goes straight into attack. Doesn't use any skills at all. She notices this later because she actually doesn't. I don't think she's ever really used Da Vinci caster very much. But later on in this fight, she actually checks Da Vinci's second skill here because she doesn't know what it does. Da Vinci's second skill gives her HP regen, MP regen, and I believe something else. There's a third effect here that I'm forgetting here that she gets out of this. But those are the two that I know for sure that she gets. Oh, she gets Da Vinci gets a debuff immunity, which is better for against the Soul Eaters, because the Soul Eaters try to put MP seal on you, which is kind of annoying if they do. So that skill obviously would have been nice against the Soul Eaters. But the most important part of Da Vinci's second skill is that she gets MP recharge, MP regen. Excuse me. Let me drink something here real quick. So, that's the most important part of Da Vinci caster's second skill. And in a situation like this, the MP regen is the most important effect here. So that way, with the arts chain, Da Vinci caster should have been able to get her MP charge or MP charge up on turn 1. Technically speaking, if she wanted to, she could actually have Waver give Da Vinci her MP right away. Because again, Waver is 50% charge, even without any skills. So yeah, she could have used Waver's skills on Da Vinci right away. I understand why she didn't, or even if she was aware of it, I understand why she didn't do that, because maybe she wants to save Waver's skills for, say for example, Musashi or somebody else. Who knows? But at the very least, if she wasn't going to use Waver skills on Da Vinci, at the very least she should have known what Da Vinci caster's second skill was and used that instead, right? Because again, free 3-turn MP regen, I think 20% at max level. I actually don't know what the skill levels are on story support Da Vinci. It's probably I don't know, if I were to guess, maybe level 8 or something. We are only in Camelot after all, so story supports usually aren't that great, except for certain parts of the story where it makes sense. So yeah, support Da Vinci here probably won't be getting the full 20% charge every turn, but it's still something. Right, it still would have been something. So yeah, that Da Vinci's second skill combined with the arch chain that she does for turn 1, and going to turn 2, she'll probably be very close to getting her MP. So she can just use either one of she can use Waver's defense buff or attack buff, whatever is necessary, because clearly she doesn't use any of them here to fully charge Da Vinci's MP on turn 2. But unfortunately, she doesn't make any of these decisions, so she just goes to the straight arch chain like this. To be fair, though, now that I see this, Da Vinci does still get 80% charge, so she can just use Waver's defense and attack buffs next turn to get Da Vinci's MP. So actually, in hindsight, maybe it wasn't necessary that Da Vinci needed to use her second turn or second skill right away. But again, Would have been nice if Ina used Waver's defense buff on turn 1, had she been, you know, paying attention. So yeah, as you can see, one of the gazers hit Musashi, and now it did like fucking 3,000 damage or something. So yeah, that's why you want to use Waver's defense buff, because at the very least, even if Waver gets hit by a one of the gazers, she's not going to lose 3,000 HP, because how much HP did Musashi have before then? Yeah, 3,000, 13,000, right? And she lost 3,300, just about. So yeah, that's quite a bit of a chunk of HP. That, you know, ideally her Musashi didn't have to lose, but you know, it is what it is. Let's see what she does for her second turn.
Okay, we'll be fine.
Okay, now she uses Waver's defense buff. That is a classic mistake that a lot of inexperienced FGO players, let's just put it that way, make. Whenever they have Waver on a team, they don't think about using their defense, Waver's defense skill right away. Because they're like, oh, all my servants are at max HP. Why would I have to use the defense buff? And then they get smacked in the face, and they're like, oh shit. And then they pop Waver's defense buff. But by that point, that's kind of already too late, because, again, the enemies have already hit you with that Waver's defense buff. And they've already had a chance to do a lot of damage to you, and, they just panic use Waver's defense buff now. That happens with a lot of new players, new or inexperienced players, because it's a knee-jerk reaction, right? Oh, my servants are taking damage, better use their defense buff. When ideally, they should have used that turn before, so that way they wouldn't have to take that much damage. Are you referring to gameplay? Yes, I am. I absolutely am. Okay, so the only skill she uses here is Waver's defense buff, and she goes immediately into a quick chain. So this is actually not a bad idea, because Da Vinci, so far, if we're going to card count, I think on turn 3 she gets 2 Da Vinci cards. So this idea is actually not bad. Using a quick chain here to generate to build quick stars, same thing. So that her wave 3 damage DPS is really good with crits, right? You throw crits in there. Here's the thing though, I don't think Ina knows how to card count, or she's not aware that that's a thing. What card counting is, for those of you guys who are not aware, it's exactly what it sounds like. I can't say that because that's a little bit unintuitive. Basically, every servant in FGO has a different kind of deck. They have 5 cards, 5 normal attacks that they can do. Depending on the servant, they can have different amounts, different numbers of busters, busters, arts, or quick cards. It depends on the servant. In Musashi's case, Musashi has 3 busters, 1 arts, and 1 quick. In Da Vinci's case, she has 3 arts, 1 quick, and 1 buster because she's a caster, and that's very typical of caster servants. Musashi's deck is actually very atypical because a lot of sabers have a 2A 2B. We call that a balanced deck in the community. Whereas a triple buster deck is referred to as a berserker deck because that's more indicative of a berserker servant. Most berserker servants have triple buster cards and only 1 arts and 1 quick. So Musashi has what we would call a berserker deck because of that. And a Waver is being a caster. Naturally, he has the same deck as Da Vinci. So here on turn 1, we notice that Da Vinci only has 1 card here. If you have 3 servants on the field, then the game deals 5 cards to you in any random order, at least on the first turn. But it's pulling 5 cards from the total combined pool of all of the cards of your 3 servants in the front. So here we have one Da Vinci card here, one of her arts cards. On turn 2, we notice that she now gets, she's dealt, let's see, another 1 Da Vinci card. It's a quick card. By process of elimination, we know that on turn 3, Da Vinci will have, let's see, her buster card and the other 2 arts cards. Because we've already seen one of her arts cards, we've already seen one of her quick cards. So that means that on turn 3, because the card shuffles are in 3 turns, go in 3 turn cycles, we know that Da Vinci will get access to a full break chain, guaranteed. So this quick chain here actually makes sense. Like, I'm not against it here. because that way she'll generate she'll generate a decent amount of crit stars, and so maybe some of those go for Da Vinci's chain. The issue is that Da Vinci is a caster, and casters don't have very strong star weight, base star weight. And I believe Da Vinci caster doesn't have any skills that like increase her own star weight, so there's no way for Da Vinci to like guarantee the crit stars to herself. And I believe none of these servants have any star bomb skills of their own. Waver certainly doesn't have any. Musashi does not, but with the help of her first skill, she can generate a lot of crit stars, but she doesn't use Musashi's first skill here anyway. Maybe Da Vinci might have crit stars? I forget if her second skill also has star regen. I know it has HP and MP charge regen, but I don't know if it has crit star regen, because some skills do. I'm not sure if she has a star bomb on her first skill. I don't think she does. I think her first skill only has the 85% chance to give her an MP damage buff, the guts, and then something else. Maybe I think an additional defense buff or something like that. I don't know if she has any extra star bombs. Yeah, I'm not sure. But Golden Rule body usually has per turn stars. Okay. Assuming that Da Vinci does have a star regen skill on her second skill, then sure. Fine, let's go with that. The problem is that she doesn't use it, because star regen skills are different than from star bomb skills, because star bomb skills in FGO immediately give you stars right away for you to use this very turn. However, star regen skills do not give stars to you right away. Instead, because it's a regen effect, they only give you stars for your next turn, not your current turn. So, yeah, she didn't use Da Vinci's second skill anyway, which would have been perfect assuming it does have a star regen skill. Da Vinci's third. Oh yeah, that's right, because she has Pioneer of the Stars. Yeah, Pioneer of the Stars gives you 10 crit stars. Yeah, and yeah, support Da Vinci doesn't have it because she's not third ascended, because she's only level 65. So yeah, she doesn't have access to Da Vinci's third skill anyway. So that's kind of a problem. Will this be a weekly review of her gameplay? I do want to review more of her gameplay. Yes. I don't know if it's going to be a weekly thing, but maybe I'll decide on that later. However, the quick chain here, like I get where she's going. I get where this is coming from, because she wants the crit stars to power up her next turn's damage output. So that's what she goes with. Yeah. All right. Here's some more things I can say about her quick chain usage. So remember how I talked about how arts cards perform a little differently depending on what place they are in the chain? Same goes for quick cards, and busted cards too, for that matter. In the case of quick cards, obviously, as the game here implies, the further along a quick card is in a chain, the more stars that they're going to drop. And that is accurate. That the cards you have later in a chain do in fact drop you more stars on average. However, the issue here is that she went with Waver's quick card as anchor, or as the last card in her chain. Waver's quick card only does 2 hits. In FGO, for those who are unaware, in FGO, crit stars are generated based on your hit count, because in FGO, the game is such that the game makes it so that, or star generation specifically, is such that each individual hit of a card in this game can only generate a maximum of 3 crit stars. It's capped at 300% per hit. So that means that hit count on a servant's cards, especially their quick cards, is extremely important, because the higher their hit count, the more crit stars they have, the more potential for crit stars they have. Musashi, I think, has like a 3-hit quick, if I'm not mistaken. Da Vinci has like a 3 or 4 hit. Waver has only 2. So ideally, if Ina's trying to generate crit stars here, which obviously she is, she used the quick chain after all, quick chains in FGO generate for you 10 crit stars right away. In JP they got buffed where they now give you 20 stars instead, but right now for NA doesn't have that buff yet. So for now it's still 10. But yeah, given that the intention here, or Ina's intention, I would assume, is to generate quick stars. Quick stars. You're gonna hear me call crit stars quick stars a lot here, because I love mixing words up. But assuming that was her intention, she ideally wants to use Waver's card first because that's the least effective star generating card here in this chain. So ideally she would use Waver first, Waver quick card first, then like maybe Musashi and then Da Vinci. Because at least Da Vinci will do a little bit of damage, because she at least doesn't have to worry about, class disadvantage here like Musashi does. So, ideally, in my opinion, she should have gone Waver first, then Musashi, then Da Vinci. Not only that, but quick cards in FGO also generate a little bit of MP charge as well. Not as much as, obviously, arts cards. That's the arts cards' job, of generating a lot of MP charge. But quick cards can do a little bit of it too. But even though quick cards' main focus is to generate crit stars. Because Da Vinci is so close to her NP and she didn't use either Waver's skills yet or any of Waver's skills yet. I think she used the defense buff, not the attack buff. Obviously, she's very close to her NP, but she's not quite there yet, right? So, ideally, to guarantee that Da Vinci gets her NP, she wants to use Da Vinci card, she wants to use Anchor Da Vinci card here. Both for max star gen and max MP gen. I believe Da Vinci still gets her MP here anyway, so that doesn't really matter. And besides, even if she didn't, she still has Waver's attack buff that she can use to get Da Vinci her MP anyway. Can you explain what those percentages mean in Star Gen and MP Gen? Let's see. So for Star Gen, you heard me earlier say that stars are generated off of individual hit count, right? And they have a cap of 300% efficacy or 300% efficiency. Basically 300%. If you have for example, if you give a servant a 300% chance to 300% star gen buff, effectively what that means is every 100% in a star gen buff means that character or that servant is guaranteed to create a star, create one crit star with any hit. Right. This applies pretty much universally, yeah. There's a lot that I have to talk about for Star Gen specifically, but we have to if I want to answer that question. Every servant has every class in FGO has a base Star Gen like stat. Typically it's pretty low. Depending on the classes, some can be higher than others. Assassins have the highest base chance, base crit star chance or Star Gen chance in the game because assassins as a whole, like the whole point of the assassin class, at least in the beginning, was to generate crit stars. That was their original design. That was their original design. Like they were supposed to be the crit star support class, where they generate stars so that their teammates can use them, they can pick them up, and then use them to crit enemies with. So assassins have the highest Star Gen base Star Gen chance in the game at 25%, roughly 25%. It's usually around that number. What that means is that not just for the assassins, of course, every class, because every class has at least a small base chance to create a base Star Gen chance. That means that every servant in the game has a chance to create stars by doing anything. Even with arts cards, and arts cards are tagged with having 0% Star Gen chance, which means ordinarily arts cards are not supposed to generate any crit stars at all. But the reason why you see sometimes, like very rarely, if a servant doesn't have any Star Gen buffs at least, the reason why you still sometimes see servants still be able to generate a star or two off of their arts cards is because that's their class Star Gen kicking in, because they were able to hit their base class Star Gen chance. And that's how, for example, you see like either their buster cards or their arts cards generate a star. Because no matter what they do, they're always going to have a slight chance to create a star. Quick cards have the highest base chance to generate a star because that's kind of the whole point. I said, for example, that arts cards have 0% chance, and it's across the board. No matter, it doesn't change no matter what position in the chain they're in. Buster cards, I think, have a 10, 20, and 30% chance going from left to right. Anchor mid or point anchor and mid. Quick cards, their star gen percentage, I think, goes from something like 120%, and it goes all the way up to like 200 or something like that. So whenever you use a Servant's quick card, they are guaranteed to generate stars. Same goes for extra attacks too. Extra attacks have like a built-in 100% star gen chance or something. So that's why you always see Servants whenever they use their extra chains, they always generate like a handful of stars at least, like anywhere from like 10 to like 15 or 20, depending on how high their hit counts are. So whenever you use a star gen buff, like for example, the easiest example I can think of is Caster Gil, because Caster Gilgamesh's first skill gives a party 3-turn 100% star gen buff at level 10, I believe. I think that's at level 10. Effectively, what he's doing is he's giving everybody on his team a guaranteed chance to create one crit star per hit count that they have. And it makes perfect sense on Caster Gil because Caster Gil's NP is an AoE art and that has like 8 or 10 hits on it. So the idea with Caster Gil is that even though he's an arts servant, right, and arts cards generally don't produce crit stars, when he uses his first skill, all of a sudden he turns his arts AoE MP into a star gen instead. So that's how star gen buffs work in FGO. NP gen, on the other hand, that's a lot more straightforward. Like every servant has an MP gauge, and it goes from 0 to 100. Depending on the MP level, it can go all the way to 200, and MP5 it goes all the way up to 300. But that's an MP5 exclusive thing. But yeah, as soon as your servant has 100% MP, they can use their MP. On your next turn, their MP is available for use, as long as they don't have like a debuff on them that prevents them from using it or something. Like as long as they're not like stunned or like CC'd or like as long as they don't have like an MP seal debuff on them. As long as they don't have anything like that, they can use their MP. And their MP comes up every single time. It's not random. It's always there. Did you start a new account? Or did you get it for a stream? It's a sponsored account, but it's very fresh. It's not very strong. Like, I doubt that, like, for example, her Musashi and her Waver have any of their skills really leveled that much. So, this is the Advanced FGO Studies University. I mean, I'm one of the few people who play this game who's able to do this, so pretty much, yeah. I think he was talking about, like, each character's base MP charge stat. Oh, if he's talking about that, then, that depends. That stat is a lot more volatile. The MP charge stat, MP charge on attack stat, excuse me, is different from servant to servant. That stat is based way more on their card type or their deck type, as in like how many arts cards do you have, how many arts and how many quick cards do you have, and if they have an arts NP. If they have an arts MP, you're gonna generally speaking, you're gonna see them have a lot less MP charge or a lot lower MP charge on attack stat, especially if they have an arts MP that has a very high hit count. The reason why that is because if you give a servant with a high hit count arts NP, either single target or AoE, generally speaking more for the AoEs, single targets can sometimes get away with still having high MP charge on attack stats, but for AoEs, the devs go out of the way to bonk those servants with the nerf hammer. Because if you have a servant who has high MP charge on attack stat and an AoE MP with a lot of hits on it, they loop like crazy. Especially now that we have characters like Castoria in the game. Oh yeah, no, they would loop their MPs way too easily. But we might be getting ahead of I might be getting ahead of myself here. To be fair. But yeah, the MP charge on attack stat controls how much MP gauge a servant gets through their arts cards and their quick cards. Yeah, and it's based on multiple factors, like what kind of deck type do they have, like how many arts cards do they have in their deck, how many hits do they have on both their arts cards and their quick cards, and if they have an arts MP or not, and if it's AoE or not too. Yeah. Generally speaking, the more arts cards you have, the lower your MP charge, your MP charge on attack. Because the idea is that for the servants with a lot of arts cards like casters, you want to be able to MP arts chain a lot. That's how you're gonna get a lot of your MP chain or your MP charge. Waver is like one of the few exceptions because Waver it was a debut servant, and this was back when this was a wild west of FGO back in the day when the game first came out, like the first year or so, because the developers did not know shit about their own game, and so Waver is kind of a relic of old ass like OG fucking FGO because he only has, even though he's a caster and so he has a 3 arts deck, his arts cards only have 1 hit on them. So his MP charge on attack is actually really high, like around like 1% or something. And like anything that's close like 0.8% or anything close to 0.8% or higher, that's actually really good. So 1% charge MP charge on attack is fucking ridiculous. So for Waver, especially if he can crit on the few times that he does, he gets a buttload of MP charge. And he has a triple arts deck, so it's really easy for him to arts chain with other servants. So for Waver specifically, he shouldn't really have a problem getting his MP. That and he has two of his skills give 20% party charge to the entire team anyway, so he's getting free 20% charge out of it for himself too. But those are fixed charges, that's separate from the MP charge on attack stat. But that's essentially what that is. The stat that controls how much MP gauge servants get through using their arts cards and their quick cards. And that extends to their MPs as well. Also, star weight is too much. No, he has base caster star weight. The reason why Ketabaris that you feel that way is because there's this fucking wacky ass star gem mechanic that like nobody knows about unless you actually do your research on it. If you're talking about those random ass like random ass occurrences where like sometimes your casters can just like randomly pull in all the stars for themselves, there's an explanation for that, but that's a little bit too advanced for now. I mean, most of this shit is actually already too advanced anyway, but that is like just on another level of like what the fuck. So maybe we'll get into it later, like after I'm done with this video or some shit. But in any case, yeah, that's what the MP charge attack is. So anyways, back to Ina's gameplay itself after that long ass tangent. So we're on wave 3. Let's see what she does. So she has a lot of crit stars. She's got 25. Unfortunately, none of them, the distribution of the crit stars here is kind of unlucky. Because yeah, you don't have any stars here that have gathered onto one or two cards. She doesn't have like at least like an 80% chance to crit, even though 80% chance to crit in FGO is kind of a meme. But yeah, she doesn't have like a very high crit chance card in her deck. So yeah, for those of you guys who are not aware of like how crits work in FGO, basically, yeah, the system is a little bit weird. It's different for sure. The idea is that servants use quick cards, or they use skills that generate crit stars, and then the game distributes crit stars to the different cards that you have available to their face cards. Specifically their face cards. MPs cannot crit. So MPs are irrelevant as far as like crits go. So crits, only face cards, only their normal attacks can crit. Extra attacks also cannot crit either. It's just their face cards, the ones you see here, where my cursor is at. So yeah, the 60%, the numbers you see here, the percentage numbers you see are basically just, what is a chance to crit? So if she uses Waver's Arts card here, for example, it has a 60%. Basically, it has a 60% chance to crit. There's more explanations that influence like crit chances here, but I won't get into them today. It's way too complicated for now. So yeah, so kind of unlucky here, but like I said, like I mentioned before, by card counting, by counting Da Vinci's cards here, like we said, Da Vinci got both the rest of her arts cards, which is 2 of them, and then her Buster card here. So now she has a full Da Vinci Brave Chain to use, and I believe she uses it, but we'll let her. We'll see what she wants to do here.
Like, do I even have?
Are you guys on YouTube? Yeah, I plan on cutting this part of the video out and put it on YouTube.
Surely Da Vinci carries, right?
Maybe I should have put the chat box up in like a different
Sorry,
corner of
Musashi.
the stream actually. Okay, so she swaps out Musashi for Kiyohime. Again, she should have done this 2 turns ago. But we'll let it slide for now.
Wait, what's caster?
So she's checking what Da Vinci Caster does with their NP. Specifically, she's checking what her overcharge does, because if you guys are not aware, in FGO, the NPs, or which is short for Noble Phantasms in FGO, they're like basically your ultimates in this game. NPs work a little differently than most ultimates in like other games, because not only do they do most NPs in FGO are like damage dealing ultimates, you also have your more support or like debuff utility ultimates as well. Debuff utility NPs, whatever you want to call them. The vast majority of them actually do some form of damage though. But all NPs in the game also have what's called the overcharge, an overcharge effect. You can see it in the description here. When she's reading what Da Vinci's NP does. So yeah, for Da Vinci's NP specifically, her overcharge effect is it increases NP strength for herself, and as you can see here, it says effect increases with overcharge, and that's a whole nother discussion that we can get into later. But essentially, what Ina is doing here is she's checking what overcharge effect Da Vinci Caster has, and like what else she does with her NP, because a lot of NPs like do a bunch of stuff at once these days, so it's good to check what they do in game whenever you can. But in any case, it's looking like she's planning to use Da Vinci Caster's NP here. And again, she can, if you put 3 cards together from the same servant. Actually, she did not go with that. That's very surprising. And also not the right idea here. That is the wrong choice to do. But anyways, let me finish my thought. If you use 3 cards in a row from the same servant, you get what's called an extra chain, and the game will add a free 4th attack called the extra attack. That a servant can use to deal more damage and gain a little bit more MP charge and gain more crit stars out of. So she decided to go, strangely enough, with let's see, let me try to fast forward to it here. No, let's see, do this and then frame by frame. Yeah, so she decides to go with this, which is very weird. But this is no offense to Ina, but this is kind of a rookie mistake. Allow me to explain why. So first of all, she did not choose a Da Vinci extra chain, which would have been optimal, even though obviously Kiyohime here is a berserker, so naturally she does more damage, because berserkers in FGO deal 50% extra damage to all classes in the game, with one exception against the foreigners. But we don't have any foreigners on the field, so don't need to worry about that. However, Kiyohime has no buffs, and Kiyohime is a 3-star. Which means without buffs, I don't know how much damage she's really going to be doing here. Not only that, but by going with this chain, she's missing out on Da Vinci's extra attack. Which, again, like I said earlier, deals more damage, gives Da Vinci a little bit more MP gen, or MP charge, and produces a few more stars. So yeah, that's kind of a mistake. Not only that, but she had 2 arts cards right there, too. Right? And then because she should have gone with Da Vinci NP, then the 50% arts card, and then the 70% arts card. So that way, she has a greater and greater chance to crit with her the more arts cards she uses, right? Because if her anchor card crits, that means she's getting the most amount of MP charge out of her anchor arts card. And by the way, when arts cards crit in FGO, they immediately double the amount of MP gen that they give you. So here, there was a chance for Ina to use Da Vinci's Arts Brave chain here. And if one or even better, both of them crit, she gets Da Vinci's MP back. Like, she's essentially looping her Da Vinci's MP. So That's what she should have done here, but instead she goes for this, the Da Vinci MP, and then the Da Vinci Buster, and then Kyo Buster. Here she's trying to go for damage, right? Because Buster cards deal the most damage in the game compared to arts and quick cards, obviously. So here she's very clearly trying to do as much damage as possible. She doesn't realize that ideally you use Da Vinci's Arts Brave Chain here, because that effectively, if she gets lucky with her crits, she gets Da Vinci's MP back, and she can MP twice in a row, or 2 turns in a row, and deal even more damage because of that. Not only that, but the real rookie part of this is that she uses Da Vinci's MP first. That is a classic sign of inexperience in FGO. Using MPs first. If I can frame by frame go to this still frame. So yeah, the reason why this is bad is because this is not damage optimal. You're not starting this chain with a Buster card. In FGO, each color type color type has a different lead off, what we call lead off bonus. For quick chains, or for quick cards, if you start off a chain with a quick card, it just gives you like 20% extra Stargen. It's the worst effect in the game. So ideally you never want to start with quick cards. Arts cards are much better, because I believe they double your MP gen for your entire rest of your chain if you start with an arts card. Buster cards have the best damage. They give you a straight 50% boost to your damage for all your cards thereafter. So if you want to go for damage, you almost always want to start with the Buster card instead. There are exceptions, of course, depending on what the situation is like and what kind of cards you're using. But in this case, there was no reason to do this. Like, this is a very strange chain that doesn't really accomplish much. Yeah, it's very odd. I mean, if she was going to use this chain, ideally she should have started with Kiyohime's Buster card instead. So that way, Da Vinci can use her Buster card last, and her Buster card has the 50% Buster buff from Kiyohime's Buster card leadoff bonus. Not only that, but if she also gets lucky and wins the crit coin flip there, then she'll do even more damage, and all those effects stack. And here, in case you're wondering, can't their Buster cards like also generate some MP charge too? Since she started with an arts card, with her MP. I mean, yeah, but Buster cards are not meant to generate MP. There are like some weird servants where like actually yes, their Buster cards have so much have such high hit counts on them. Like for example, Skaha Lancer and ironically Kiyohime Lancer. But they're not, like, aside from those, like, outliers, those exceptions, no, not really. There's not much of a reason to lead off Buster cards with an arts card. Like, unless you're, like, literally, like, 1 or 2 or 3% away from a servant's NP. And, like, you just need anything. You just need any amount of NP charge to get them to full, then sure, if you're that desperate. And if you really need a servant's NP in the next turn, then sure, go for it. But, you know, Kiyohime is not that close. I mean, she is close, but, you know, she's not like what, 96 or 97% or anything like that. So, yeah, no, this is a very strange chain. But I think I can explain it because Ina was trying to look for damage. She thought to herself, yeah, I want to do as much damage as possible, and so she just picked the 2 Buster cards that she saw, because, you know, red card go unga bunga. Because, yeah, as it turns out, those were her 2 Buster cards, and she was like, oh, I need damage. And so she just picked the 2 Buster cards that she saw. She hasn't led with quick yet. Hopefully she at least knows that. Maybe streamer brain messed her up. If she was completely new to FGO, sure, I can let her. I can buy that excuse. The problem is that we've known that Ina's played FGO for a very long time, or at least a decent amount of time. If the rumors are true that, you know, she's whaled a whole bunch on FGO as well, right? So as a fellow FGO whale myself, or perhaps an ex-whale, semi-retired whale, at this moment in time, I kind of want to see what Ina's got. I want to be impressed. Unfortunately, so far, I'm not. Like, I love Ina. She's a great VTuber. I highly respect her her artwork, and she's a great person, I'm sure. But the FGO player in me is kind of cringing, I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, very strange decision to go with that, but Oh, back to the whole, like, maybe she has streamer brain. If you've been playing FGO for long enough, like, some of this shit should be muscle memory. Like, if you know these things, like, there's not much of a reason to not do it, And if you don't play FGO optimally, there is a very real chance that you will actually lose some of these fights. Like, Ina could have actually lost some of these if she just played that poorly. Like, it's possible. And that would be a little embarrassing. Even if at the end of the day, like, no one's going to give her shit for being bad at FGO. Everybody loves Ina, so obviously no one's going to do that. Or at least, I sure hope not. I mean, I am, but I'm just doing this because it's interesting. Because it's FGO gameplay, right? And I've never seen Ina play FGO before. At least personally. Maybe some other people have, but yeah. But yeah. Like, if she knows some of these things, like, she would actually put them to use, in my opinion. Like, I don't know if, there's any point to, like, trying to hide the fact that you're actually good at FGO. Like, what's the point of that? Like, this is a sponsored stream, too, so you should kind of, like, it's in her best interest to, it's in the best interest of all parties involved for Ina to actually play optimally, if she knows what she's doing. But, I don't think she does, is the point that I'm trying to make. Also, no bless. Thanks so much for the brand new Twitch sub. Really appreciate it, man. It's not even Twitch Prime sub, just a basic sub. But yeah, thanks so much for the support. Greatly appreciated.
I should have looked at the. Okay, we can look at.
So yeah, she decides to go with that. I believe this is MP4, but this is only level 65, so this shouldn't do that much damage. Happy Chinese New Year. Oh, is it Lunar New Year now? Happy Chinese New Year to you too, man. If you celebrate it. So yeah, she only does 35,000 damage. She does crit with that, but it would have done more damage if she had let off with a Buster card. Oh, and the second the other mistake that she made here, when she pulled in Kiyohime, she did not use any of Kiyohime's skills at all. This is a mistake too, because remember that Berserkers are weak to everything in the game, as a trade-off for them being 50% better or doing 50% extra damage to almost every other class in the game. Also, Leptine, what's going on, man? Thanks so much for the 26 months. That's also a mistake too. Not only that, but Kiyohime has even less health than Musashi, because she's only a 3-star, whereas Musashi is a 5-star. So at least Musashi can, afford to take a hit or two from the Gazers, but Kiyohime, forget it. Berserkers in FGO are infamous for like taking like 1 or 2 hits and just fucking dying. Like, just fucking blowing up. So yeah, if the Gazers fucking hit Kiyohime, like every hit that Kiyohime takes here is very scary. So ideally, she should have not only should she have brought in, like I said at the beginning, brought in Kiyohime first, like on turn 1, but she should have used Waver's defense buff on her right away and stacked that with Kiyohime's own defense buff. So that way all the defense buff together stack together, so that way they protect Kiyohime as much as possible. Because, assuming that all of her skills are at level 1, I believe both Waver's and Kiyohime's defense buffs are scale at 20%, I think, at level 1. Also, by the way, no bless, thanks so much for the 5 gift subs, man. Greatly appreciated. So yeah, even at level 1, even if all of her skills are at level 1, at least using Waver's and Kiyohime's skills together will give Kiyohime about a 40% defense buff or something like that. So that is much better than nothing, right? And so that would let Kiyohime survive for a lot longer. So yeah, that's kind of trouble. That's kind of worrying. Not only that, but she even uses Kiyohime's Buster card, and she doesn't even use Kiyohime's Buster buff. Actually, Kiyohime's Buster buff here might be only for 1 turn. It might not be a 3-turn buff, so maybe she didn't need to use that just yet. But at least use her defense skill, right? Anyways, I think I skipped a little too far. Where is it? Oh no, I didn't skip too far.
Didn't ex-
We'll just skip this real quick. There we go. Is she free to play some reason? Oh, this is a sponsored account. It's not her like main account or whatever. She still has her original JP account apparently, from what she said or what she's talked about. But this is because this is a sponsor stream. This account was just given to her by Aniplex. Okay.
There we go.
So yeah, there you go. Kiyohime gets hit there. She loses like another like what 2,300, 3,000 HP.
Good.
Alright, so let's see what she does for her fourth turn. So yeah, now both of the gazers are fully charged. They both have their MPs or their ultimates ready to go. So she uses Da Vinci's first skill, wavers his attack buff, and wavers his first skill. And she uses them to buff up Kiyohime and use her Buster Brave Chain here. This is the correct play. Yes, she needed to do this because if she didn't do this, because both the gazers have their ultimates ready or their big ass attacks ready, they would have done a lot of damage. Yeah, and so if they target Kiyohime is fucking dead. Even at this point, even if Kiyohime had, even if Ina used Kiyohime's defense buff, Kiyohime would still be fucking dead. At least I'm pretty sure. Maybe Kiyohime might be able to survive like one of them, but if they both target Kiyohime, oh yeah, she's fucking dead. So, yeah. So yeah, the correct play was this, to get Kiyohime to full charge with waivers of skills, and then use Kiyohime's Buster Brave Chain. I would have said just in case, use to guarantee the kill here, use Kiyohime's Buster buff as well, her third skill. But I don't think she actually ended up using it, so and it turned out not to matter anyway because Waver's attack buff was good enough. So, also kind of weird that Ina used Da Vinci's first skill. Like, what was the point of this? She might have just used it just out of panic because Da Vinci's first skill gives her a guts, I believe, for like either 3 or 5 turns, and Da Vinci is now at only half HP. So yeah, Ina is getting worried that Da Vinci's kind of getting low HP and she might die. So she needs something to protect Da Vinci from like completely dying. What guts effects are, by the way, for those guys who are not aware, is it's a defensive buff where if a servant hits 0 HP, like they die. Instead of dying, they'll use their guts buff to basically revive themselves, and they come back with they immediately resurrect with like a little bit of HP, depending on how much HP their guts buff gives them from their skill or whatever. So that's basically what it is, a second chance basically. But yeah, kind of weird why she used Da Vinci's first skill. But yeah, I'm assuming it's because she's afraid that Da Vinci is gonna die soon, and yeah, I don't want Da Vinci to die, so I'm gonna use his skill right now. Even though obviously she didn't need to use it because Kiyohime is about to kill both of these guys.
Oh, that was kind of lame. Okay.
But yeah, she doesn't even use Kiyohime's Buster buff at all. But as it'll turn out, she doesn't need to. Nice seeing Kiyohime's updated MP animation, at least. So,
Okay.
Kiyohime comes in to save the day, kills both of the gazers before they can ult. Okay, so now she's up against the Soul Eaters. In FGO, it's actually very important to know what your enemies do too. The gazers were pretty simple. They just attack you, and they have one skill that they use that gives them sure hit, which is basically it gives them ignore evasion. Where if your servants have evade stacks, which ordinarily evasion lets a servant like avoid taking damage if they get hit, but there's a counter to that, and that's called sure hit, which is basically pierce evasion. So if a servant uses like an evade skill, but an enemy has sure hit, then that means that their evasion is effectively worthless. Because that enemy can, if they target your servant with evasion, that means that they can just go straight through your servant's evasion. It works the opposite way too. Your servants can have sure hit, and then they can bypass the evasion effects that enemies have too. So it goes both ways. So that in that way it's fair. Okay. So for Soul Eaters, however, Soul Eaters, they are assassins. Enemy assassins in FGO are particularly annoying because they have a much higher base chance to land crits. And unlike how your servants' crits work, where it's like you gotta farm, you gotta generate crit stars, and then they have to be distributed on the next turn, and you have to use the cards that have like as high crit chances as possible to get crits or whatever, right? For enemies, it's just a much more straightforward. Oh, chance to crit. And enemy assassins, I believe they have like a base 30% chance to crit, which is much higher than like say other classes like maybe 10 or even 20%. There are some particular enemies that are very annoying that have like upwards of like 65% chance to crit, and those guys are complete assholes. I don't think these Soul Eater enemies have like a special like increased base chance to crit. They should just be at a base 30%, but even still, they're assassins, so you have to watch out for them just fucking critting your enemies too. You're critting your servants to death. Luckily here, Kiyohime is the only one who's weak to them because, I mean, she's a berserker, so that's to be expected. But in FGO, assassins are actually weak to casters. Doesn't make a whole lot of sense in lore, but it's FGO. Things are kind of weird anyway. But yeah, in any case, as far as like the damage, the damage triangle goes, or like the rock paper scissors system goes, casters beat assassins. So she actually does not need to worry about Da Vinci or Waver really dying here, like especially not Da Vinci, because she just needs to use Da Vinci's second skill and she'll get HP back over time for like what HP regen for like 3 turns or something. So she should get a lot of her HP back, even if she gets hit by some of the Soul Eaters every now and then. So yeah, that's not an issue. It's just she has to worry about Kiyohime here dying to the Soul Eaters. Okay, so she decides to go with a Buster Chain here. Honestly, not a bad call. Cause I mean, you have 3 Buster cards, so it's like, you know, Unga Bunga, hit C red, press red. That being said, I did kind of want to see her use Da Vinci's second skill, because once again, Da Vinci's second skill gives her HP regen, MP regen, and the third thing that I'm forgetting. Oh yeah, debuff immunity. Yeah. The debuff immunity specifically comes in handy against the Soul Eaters, because the Soul Eaters have their skill that they like to spam sometimes is they put like what defense debuff resist on whoever they target, and they have a small chance to seal your NP. Which again, like I mentioned earlier, if one of your servants has an MP seal debuff, when they have their MP ready to go, they cannot use their MP because of that debuff. So Da Vinci here, because her debuff immunity off her second skill lasts like, I don't know, like 2 or 3 turns or something, it would actually be not a bad choice to use it here. Because again, she's only at 21% NP charge. Using her second skill will give her more charge over time, and it'll get her closer and closer to her next NP. So yeah, and ideally she should have used, if she wants to concentrate on getting Da Vinci's MP back, which honestly she should, because, you know, she's up against assassins, and assassins are weak to casters, and Da Vinci has an AoE MP. Yeah, it's in her best interest to actually generate Da Vinci's MP as quickly as possible. But I do understand why she goes for the Buster Chain instead, because, you know, C red, press red, and all that. This is also a mistake. Remember again how I mentioned that the position of the cards themselves are also very important. Arguably, it is the most important for Buster cards, because the sheer damage scaling they have per position is bonkers. The damage scaling from going from left to right for Buster cards specifically goes from 150%, 170%, to 210% or something like that, if I recall correctly anyway. Yeah, so ideally, if you want to do the most amount of damage in a Buster Chain, you put your strongest Buster card last. In this case, it's actually Da Vinci's card, because Da Vinci's a Buster card here has a 40% chance to crit. And so if she gets lucky, and Da Vinci's Buster card does hit the 40% chance, she'll do an absolute metric shit ton of damage. As much as she can, as she can in this position anyway. Putting Kiyohime's Buster card last year is a mistake, because that's not optimal damage. Ideally, she puts Kiyohime's card first, because Kiyohime, while she's a berserker and she'll do bonus damage against everyone, it's only 50%. Remember that casters have true class advantage against assassins. They do 100% extra damage. Double damage, pretty much. So there was no reason to use Kiyohime's Buster card here as anchor. It should have been point instead, the point card, followed by Waver's card in mid, and then finally Da Vinci's card anchor, because Da Vinci's card is the only Buster card here that actually has a chance to crit. Even if it's just 10%, that's still better than none, so Da Vinci's card would have been anchor anyway, regardless. So, bit of a misplay here.
Okay, assassin.
So as you can see there, one of the Soul Eaters, by spamming their skills, was able to put NPC on Kiyohime. To be fair, that doesn't really matter, because, yeah. She doesn't really have. She's not gonna get her MP again, likely, unless Waver gets her skills back or something, or Waver gets his skills back. Sorry.
We're gonna have to save.
I think I skipped forward a little bit too far. So let's see, what does she do for turn 6?
Oh, we can do this.
Okay, so she decides to go with a Waver Arts Brave Chain here. Let me see what her setup was beforehand. I don't think she used any skills here, pretty sure. Yeah, doesn't use any skills, just goes straight into Waver's Arts Brave Chain. Actually, yes, this is the best thing that she could have done. Actually, no. I don't think this was the best thing she could have done, now that I think about it. Like, obviously, it's understandable why she's doing this, but I don't think that was the optimal thing to do here. I think the optimal thing to have done here was arts quick, not triple arts chain. Normally, triple arts chains are the way to go on Waver, yes, because it's not like Waver generates a whole ton of crit stars. So in most cases, you want him generating MP charge so that he can reach his MP as quickly as possible, because his MP is very good, a very good utility NP. However, in this case, Waver's Arts Brave Chain is not necessary. Waver's already at 62% charge. It's not going to take much more for him to get his NP, all things considered. Because let's see. To be fair, his skills are on cooldown. Sorry. So, and they're not going to come back for at least like another
Okay.
4 turns. Yeah. Would be 2 turns if her Waver's skills were lowered, but obviously they are not. But I actually think that Waver's MP or Arts Brave Chain here is a little overkill, because she's just gonna get way too much MP charge. She's gonna go way over 100%, assuming that her Waver is even like MP2 or something. He's probably not. He's probably only like MP1 or something. So you won't be able to see that. But I do think that here she should have used a Waver Arts Quick Chain instead. Arts Quick card chain instead, so that way she can generate stars using Waver for next turn. Even if it's not a lot of crit stars, at least she'll give some cards next turn at least a small chance to crit. And so if she gets lucky again, and she manages to crit with like a random face card, then that's just more damage and potentially more MP gen and star gen that she gets out of it. Like, you never know, right? But yeah, I think the Arts Brave Chain here is a little overkill. But I understand why she's doing it. She's trying to go for damage.
Oh, we can do
How about AQA? For here, I'm actually focusing on crit star gen. I do think that AQA is actually not bad either. But Waver's gonna get his MP no matter what. Unless of course he just gets his ass MP seal, I guess. Which, you know, if that happens, then well, sucks to suck, I guess. But I still think AAQ would be better, to be honest. AAQ wasn't gonna get 38% though, but she doesn't need Waver's MP right now, because again, she has Da Vinci on. She has Da Vinci. Right. The idea was that ideally, Ina used Da Vinci's second skill, to help her gain more MP charge, but she didn't. She didn't do that. Like ideally, she should have used Da Vinci's skill, like second skill, like 2-3 turns ago. And like she's not going to use Waver's MP now, so there's no rush to get Waver's MP. Like she'll have plenty of chances to get Waver's MP later, either from like enemies attacking Waver himself directly, or you know, using one of his quick or arts chains later on down the line. But there wasn't a need for her to like focus on Waver's arts cards alone. As you can see there, that just happened. Kiyohime just got crit for half her health, so that's why defense buffs are kind of important.
Do that.
Okay, so she stuns the Soul Eater on the left. That's a good play, because she knows that she can kill the weaker Soul Eater on the right and not to deal with him. But then the second Soul Eater, who's still at full health, can't act because he got stunned with Plug Suit. Yeah. You know she doesn't really know how cards work in this game, because she decides to go with arts. Yeah, like what on earth is this? What is this? What is this supposed to do? She starts with arts waiver card or waiver arts card, then Kiyohime arts card, and then Kiyohime Buster. I think she's doing this because she thinks that putting Buster cards as anchor does the most damage. This is not how you do damage in this game. If you only have a single Buster card and you want to be damage optimal, you always put your Buster card first, because Buster leadoffs improve the damage of all the rest of your cards. So because of that, it is not worth putting your Buster as anchor if you're not already leading off with a Buster beforehand anyway, to begin with. But yeah, I think that Ina is doing this because in her head she's like, oh, Berserker good and Buster card good, so I must use Buster Berserker card last, because that'll do the most damage. No, that's not. This is not damage optimal. Like maybe she wanted to maybe go for extra MP gen for Kiyohime, but like Kiyohime is most likely not gonna survive this. She's literally one shot, one hit away from death, and she's she's at only 13% MP gauge. Like, are you fucking kidding me? She's not getting her second MP, and she doesn't have any healing skills either, so she can't give Kiyohime an extra, she can't buy Kiyo an extra turn to get her MP somehow. Plus, Kiyohime being a Berserker and having a standard Berserker deck, she only has one arts card and she just used it. So yeah, that alone is not charging her MP. So yeah, no, this is a little bit whack. Isn't Buster card on 1k HP a waste of damage? No, not really. Not even then. Not then. Maybe, actually, now that you mention that, that's probably also what she thought too. That, I don't want to use a Buster card here just because Kiyohime will do way more than, 1200 HP or 1200 damage. And so that's why maybe she thought of doing that too. And so that's why she started with the waiver arts card. But even if that were the case, that's still a misplay too, because Da Vinci has a Buster card right fucking there. So, even then, she had the option of using a Da Vinci Buster card leadoff. But she didn't use that, so... Like, she knows how to target switch. That much I'll give her. Because she made sure to use Waver's card first and then queue him as 2 cards afterwards. But no, if you think that Buster card, using a Buster card just to kill off an enemy that's at 1200 HP is like a waste of damage, quote unquote, you are severely underestimating how strong Buster leadoffs are in this game. Buster Kia, Waver A, and then Da Vinci B would be the right choice. Actually, no, Waver Quick. Because I believe Waver already has his MP, doesn't he? Yeah, has to have. Yeah, he's already at 100%. There's no reason for Waver to use his arts card here. And Waver, it's clear that Waver is only MP1 because he's stuck at 100%. So there's no point in Waver using his arts card. So ideally, she uses Kyo Buster, Waver Quick, and and Waver's Quick card has the 30% chance to crit. So if it does crit, if she gets lucky, then she'll get even more crit stars. A little bit more, not too much, but better than nothing. And yeah, she finishes with she anchors with Da Vinci Buster. That would have been ideal for this hand. Damage only for this. In this case, you're not really going for damage here. You're ideally, like, it's better off just trying to go for crit stars here. Because, like, the difference here, Waver doesn't have any buffs. They have no attack buffs at the moment. So, realistically, how much damage is Waver really going to do? To be fair, though, they are up against Assassins, so Waver is doing double damage. To be fair. But no, I would say that Waver Quick card here is still better. Like, the amount of damage between, like, a Waver Quick and a Waver Arts against an Assassin, well, obviously it's, going to be double that double that versus, like, any other enemy that he could fight. Most enemies that he could fight. Like, even then, it's not really going to make a difference. Or at least it shouldn't, anyway. Most of the time, it should not. But if you want to go for damage optimal stuff, then yes, technically, you want to use Waver's arts card. But personally, I would have gone for his quick card instead.
Okay. And then this is
Okay, turn 8. What does she do here? Doesn't use any skills. Goes straight into this. Okay, so let's see what she does here. So she wants to use... She doesn't use any skills, so I don't need to worry about that, at least. Oh, I think I backpedaled a little too far. Oh, excuse me. Okay. She uses Waver NP, then both of Kiyohime's cards. Again, like, no. Again, you notice that she's constantly putting Kiyohime's Buster card last. Yeah, no, that's not what you want to do either. Again, for damage, for optimal damage, you always want to lead off with Busters. Very few exceptions to that. Not only that, but she's tunnel visioning way too hard on Kiyohime. Like, she's forgetting that casters are good against assassins. Like, you don't even want to use Kiyohime here if you can help it. You want to use your casters cards for this because they're actually doing double damage. And occasionally sprinkle in Kiyohime's Buster card, but she's not even using her Buster cards properly either. So I'm not exactly impressed by that either. Here, you have plenty of caster arts cards. And here, ideally, you use Waver NP and then go use another one of Waver's arts cards and then Da Vinci Anchor. Again, remember, she's still not using Da Vinci's second card, second skill, because she's not aware of what it is. So she still hasn't used it yet. But, ideally, if she had used it before, she could have built up Da Vinci's MP a lot faster, and that way not have to use Waver's MP here, instead save it for Wave 3. But yeah, more so,
Okay.
just more like just small mistakes here and there. Okay, so she gets lucky. She wins the stun coin flip because Waver's MP has a 50-50 chance to stun their enemy. Or stun everybody that it hits, which is all the enemies. Wouldn't Art's Brave Chain be better?
Then this is where we go.
Oh, oops. For this turn's damage, yes. And honestly, at this point, Da Vinci's... I don't know if Da Vinci's going to get her MP by turn 3. And turn 3, or wave 3, sorry. The enemy she's going up against is... Who is it? Is the Enforcement Knight, I believe, who's Saber. So, actually, yes, you are right. Waver Art's Brave Chain would be optimal here, just for max damage. But if we didn't have to worry about like the enemy dying anytime soon, like if they were up against an actual boss here, who had a lot more health, and the fight's gonna go on for a little bit longer, then you actually want to invest into Da Vinci's MP first. Get her MP, get her MP right away, or as soon as possible. But in this situation, yeah, you're actually right. Waver Brave Chain, Waver Art's Brave Chain is actually the way to go here.
Okay.
But again, assuming that the Soul Eater had more HP, and you need to stay here and fight him a little longer, then I would have said go for a build Da Vinci's MP up with Art's Chains.
Wait, I never really used...
Yeah, there she says it herself that she's never really used her second skill. Not surprised, because just for a bit of context, Da Vinci Caster has never really been seen as like that strong in FGO. So even though she was an anniversary serve, I'm pretty sure she was our first anniversary limited rate up servant, right? If I'm not mistaken. So yeah, even though she's an anniversary servant, like Da Vinci was never really considered to be like amazing or anything like that, according to the community. So no surprise that Ina has no clue how to use Da Vinci Caster. And so now she's checking what she does. So yeah, when she says, "Oh," she realizes, "Oh wait, I probably should have been using the skill, or I probably should use the skill like 3 turns ago."
Why no Waver Chain? It's hard, okay? That's for herself. That is true.
Yeah, when Ina was reading chat there and said and she read somebody in chat who says, "Why no Waver Chain?" and she says it's hard, okay? Like, she's not wrong. Like, even though I'm sitting here for I don't know how long this video has been going on for. I'm assuming it's going to be another hour-long video, because that's how my YouTube videos go a lot of the time. But what Ina said there is basically it's like mid-level FGO, the mid-level FGO experience, I want to say. FGO is such a fucking complicated game, and the worst part about it is that it doesn't tell you anything. The game does not teach you shit, other than the basic, oh, here's your busters, here's your arts cards, here's your quick cards, oh, here's your MP, it's fancy, isn't it? Alright, you're good to go, now get out there, champ. That's all they do. That's all they teach you. So, the vast majority of FGO players have no fucking clue what the fuck they're doing. So, I was kind of curious to know if Ina, actually knows how to play FGO. Turns out she doesn't, but I'm not really, I'm just, kind of to be expected, because most people don't know how to play this game. A lot of whales don't know how to fucking play this game. So it's a very small part of the community, especially the NA community. The JP player base may be a little bit different. because in general, you know, you got the more hardcore players playing on the JP server naturally. So I can trust that, you know, if you're a regular JP player, you probably have an idea of what you're doing. NA players, on the other hand, most NA players have zero fucking clue. Most people. Obviously, there's still going to be, you know, us nerds, us smart boys who actually have an idea of what's going on. But yeah, like I'm not trying to, like, you know, obviously I'm critiquing your gameplay, but this is not personal. Please don't take this personally. I hope you're not. But yeah, this is just me being nerding out over FGO bullshit, because this is the first time, like I said, that I'm seeing Ina actually play the game. And so naturally I was a bit curious to see if she actually knows how to play the game. Turns out, again, that she doesn't, but I mean, that's fine. At least it gives me content. In any case. So yeah, anyways, when she said, like, it's hard, like, it really is. Even when I do, like, event challenge quests and shit and try to play through it as optimally as I can, there's always going to be, like, one or two mistakes that I make. I'm just like, as soon as I make them, I was like, oh man, why didn't I think of that? Right? As soon as I end my turn, I'm like, fuck. Like, I need to use a skill, or like, oh, I should have used this chain instead of like, there's always instant regret in FGO, and it gets worse the more you know about the game. So, this game is hard, at least to play optimally. If you want to just, you know, throw out random shit out there, I mean, FGO is just like any other gotcha game, for that matter, from a casual perspective. But yeah, if you want to actually take this game more seriously and, like, try to actually get good at FGO, as good as you can get at a fucking gotcha game, yeah, that's where it gets things get tough. So Ina is saying it's hard, okay? That's an honest to God reaction. It's hard, like, keeping track of all these different things. And she's streaming to, like, what, 4,000 or 5,000 people, and she probably knows that this is the very first time people are actually seeing her, watching her play FGO. It's tough, man. You make a ton of mistakes. That's just what happens. Yeah, to be fair, you don't need to play optimally for most shit in FGO. It's only really, like, challenge quests and shit like that you have to actually play optimally for. Like, even with how badly Ina's playing here, she still gets through the first two quests just fine. And at the end of the day, as long as you beat the quest, nothing else matters. So yeah, now that she realizes what her second skill does, yeah, now Ina uses Da Vinci's second skill. She should have used it three turns ago, but I mean, hey, at least she knows what it does now.
You know what? I still have servants. I think it should be fine, right? Right?
Yeah, this is the correct play. You have Da Vinci's extra chain here. You have 3 cards. She goes arts, quick arts. That's the correct play. Maximum MP gen here. Lead off with arts card to buff her anchor arts card, so it generates as much MP charge as possible. So yeah, she gets 60%. She generates up to 60% on her own, and then she gets an extra 10% from her skill.
Okay, I won
all right.
1 in 3.
So here's the issue: the Soul Eater used its ultimate, and its ultimate basically does a lot of damage to one servant. I think it hit Da Vinci, right? Because I think last turn Da Vinci only had like half health. Now she's down to only 2,300. So yeah, this is the issue. Ina honestly wasted her first skill. Because she panicked, she panicked and used Da Vinci's first skill too early. Now, her first turn or her first skill is off cooldown. She needs to wait one more turn, and she doesn't have the guts because the guts expired on its own because it doesn't last forever. I think it only lasts like 3 turns or something, maybe 5, but I think on Da Vinci it's only 3. So yeah, Da Vinci is in very real danger of dying. I mean, both her and Kiyohime are both in very real danger of dying. Kiyohime is obviously one shot, one hit from the Soul Eater and she's dead. Maybe if she pops both Waver's defense and Kiyohime's defense buffs together, maybe she might survive a hit. But 2 hits, no, hell no, ain't no way. Da Vinci can die this turn if she gets unlucky and the Soul Eater crits her. Then she'll die. Maybe the Soul Eater might need another hit afterwards, but if a crit doesn't kill her, Da Vinci will literally be like 1 HP or some shit. Like, it'll be close. Worse is that the ultimate that the Soul Eater enemy used, because it was at full charge, full ult charge, was it gave itself a 1-turn evasion. And again, like I mentioned earlier, evasion nullifies all damage that you try to do to an enemy that has active evade. None of the servants here on our team have a sure hit, which is the pierce evade skill. They don't have pierce invul either. The hilarious part is that Da Vinci actually does have pierce invul, except it's on the skill that she doesn't have right now. It's on a third skill called Pioneer of the Stars. And what Pioneer of the Stars does is it charges the user's MP gauge by up to 50% of its max level, gives them 3-turn invul pierce, which affects both invul and evasion, by the way. So it's just a straight up better version of sure hit, and it gives her 10 crit stars, I believe. So technically, she does have pierce invul, but she's using Story Da Vinci, and she doesn't have access to her third skill yet. So get fucked, I guess. And since it's a 1-turn evasion, right now in this turn, there's nothing Ina can do to deal any damage. So ideally, what she wants to do here in a turn where you can't do damage, go for crit stars, go build up MP charge or whatever. Queuing him as buster cards here are effectively pointless. There's no point in using them. So let's see what she does.
I never really used heal, so I like. Okay, this is remove debuff.
FGO NA is really hard, unlike JP. The only problem on JP is whether you understand it or not. I don't know if you're aware, A-Band's SZ in YouTube chat, but FGO NA and FGO JP are the exact same thing. They're just 2 years. They're just 2 years apart. If you don't know how to play FGO NA, you're not gonna have much of a better experience over on FGO JP. If anything, you're gonna have it even worse. Because guess what? Now you get to play a game where you don't know how to read language. Good luck with your moon runes, buddy.
Oh, although I get. Wait, is it for 1 turn?
So yeah, the evasion's for 1 turn. So again, Ina cannot do anything here because none of her servants and her plug suit do not have anything that counters evasion. She has no access to pierce invul, and she has no access to pierce evade either. So no sure hit, no sure hit, no pierce invul. So again, ideally, she wants to use Da Vinci's arts and quick cards and a Kiyohime's quick card to like generate crit stars or something. Okay, so she understands that. Yeah, that's good. Lead off with arts cards so that way the quick cards can generate some more MP gauge too, and she's able to make some more crit stars.
No!
Yeah, so there you go. Kiyohime is dead. She almost got lucky. Kiyohime almost survived because that was the last attack from the Soul Eater, but yeah, no. So yeah, Kiyohime is dead.
Okay, it'll be fine.
Da Vinci's still hanging in there because again, casters are strong against assassins, so they can tank assassin hits pretty well.
What was the skill again? Okay, okay.
Alright. Let's see what she does now. This is the equivalent of watching a football game and I'm the commentator. It's the closest thing we're going to get to that, I guess. To be fair.
I think this should work.
Alright. Lots to say here. And let me see what chain she does. Oh yeah, Musashi chain, naturally. Alright, let me explain what she did here. Because Musashi is actually kind of a complicated character. So, what she did here was she gave Musashi Waver's first skill. Actually, I would have not advised. I would actually advise against this. What she should have done, what she did here was she gave Musashi's first skill, I believe. I believe she popped Musashi's first skill. Let me just double check. Wait until she uses skills here and make sure she did. Let's see. Yeah, there we go. So she uses Musashi's first skill. That's very important. I would have recommended not using that skill, but it's fine that she did anyway. Just to make sure that this dude dies. This son of a bitch dies. Musashi's first skill is very important because it is a very unique skill. What it does in FGO is it doubles the amount of hits that it doubles Musashi's hit count. I might have mentioned it earlier, but hit counts in FGO are extremely important. They're one of the core mechanics of this game that, like, if you don't know how FGO works, you will not know. You will just be completely oblivious to. That is why Musashi's first skill is so strong, because she's literally doubling her hit count. What that effectively means is it's automatically doubling her MP gain and her star gen. Both of them at the same time. Yeah, that's effectively what it does. And I believe it also gives Musashi a free damage buff to go with that too. I want to say, assuming that it's leveled up. The ironic part of here is that because her Musashi skills are, I believe, at only level 1, at level 1, her Musashi's first skill actually does not give any damage buff whatsoever. It's literally 0. It scales from 0 to 30%. So she's not actually getting any more damage here. However, the double hit count still applies from Musashi's first skill called Fifth Form. And yeah, again, it's doubling her MP gain and her doubling her MP gain and her star gen. And here it's actually very relevant because she has Musashi's Buster, Arts, and Quick. So Ina using Musashi's first skill actually makes a decent amount of sense. Personally, I would have if she was to use her first skill, I wouldn't have used Waver's first skill along with it. I would have held off on Waver's first skill, see how well Musashi performs without it. Because you'll notice that Waver's third skill, her attack buff, or Waver's attack buff, his attack buff, is on a 1-turn cooldown now. So next turn, assuming that Musashi does kill the Soul Eater here, which I think she does, next turn Waver gets his third skill back. That's also not only 20% attack buff at level 1, but also it gives 10% free party charge. So before Ina used Waver's first skill on Musashi, which gives 30% charge flat, no matter what level it's at, so it's actually quite good. I think Musashi had, what, like 57% or something like that? So ideally, what Ina should have done here was use Musashi's first skill, Fifth Form, and just that, and then go straight into Musashi's Brave Chain. Yeah, and then save Waver's first skill for next turn or whatever. Actually, now that I think about it, there's not really much of a reason to save it because Da Vinci already has her MP ready to go anyway, so it's not like she needs her first skill. And Waver's very far away from his own MP anyway, so actually, there's no problem with her using her Waver's first skill. Actually, now that I think about it, like there's no real reason to save it. But yeah, if either Waver himself was close to his own MP, or if Da Vinci was close to her own MP, ideally she should have held off on and been like, okay, let's see how much MP gain Musashi gets from her Brave Chain in tandem with the first skill, and then wait until next turn to use Waver's first skill. But her using it here, I guess it doesn't really matter at the end of the day, despite my 5-minute rant on why she shouldn't have used it. So yeah, she uses Musashi's first skill. She's already used Waver's first skill, and she goes with, let's see what her Musashi's chain here. All right, so this is actually optimal. Yes, I actually agree with this particular card chain setup. She goes Buster, Arts, Quick. If I can pause right where she uses it right here. If she wants to be damage optimal, technically she would have to go Buster, Quick, Arts instead, because Arts has better attack damage scaling compared to Quick cards. However, her Quick card here, Musashi's Quick card here, has 30% chance, and that's a decent amount of chance to crit. And so if it does crit, that means that obviously the Quick card will do more damage versus an Arts card that only has 10% chance to crit. And obviously that it's only 10%. That's not really gonna happen. So, yeah. And not only that, but remember that Musashi has her Fifth Form skill active, so that means that Musashi will be generating a ton of crit stars going into next turn. So I actually agree with this. Not only that, but Musashi's already very close to her MP anyway, so there's not really much of a reason using Musashi's Arts card as anchor either. If Musashi, for example, are still like 40% away from her MP, then yeah, obviously she would prefer using her Arts as anchor. But no, this is optimal here. Buster to lead off, Arts because she doesn't need that much MP charge, and then Quick to finish off, or Quick as anchor, and of course extra attack. This is a Brave Chain, so she gets an extra attack. So yeah, there you go. I believe she also crit with her Buster card. If I heard that correctly, because I think I heard the sound effect of a crit there at some point. I think it was a Buster, right? Yep, Buster, and that had a 20% chance to crit. So that was pretty lucky. She had a 1 in 5 chance to crit with her Buster card, and she did it. Boom. There you go. I think even if it didn't crit, I'm thinking she still would have killed. Actually, it's debatable. It's actually debatable. I'm not sure. I'm actually not confident if Musashi would have been able to do like what 25k damage with her base Brave Chain without the help of Waivers' first skill, actually, or without the help of this Buster crit at the very least. So yeah, it turns out Waver's first skill, Ina using Waver's first skill on Musashi was actually the right play because it guarantees the kill on the Soul Eater. So actually, good job on Ina's part. But yeah, she did get very lucky with the Buster crit, but I mean, hey, it happened. So there you go. Do you think it would have been much better if Ina already set up Gilgamesh and Musashi and the first 3, unlike her current team set? I mean, yeah, obviously, but, you know. We're just judging her gameplay with what she's decided to bring in. So. Alright, so this is the final boss of this particular node. See what she does here. So she uses Da Vinci's first skill, good, because Da Vinci is pretty low HP. And she no longer has a true class advantage against assassins because now this dude is a saber. So she'll be taking normal damage now.
No? Or all else, right?
Plus the MP damage buff from her first skill does apply because now because Da Vinci does have her MP, so she can use that if she needs to, if she feels like she needs to. It's been so long, yeah. She hasn't touched FGO in God knows how long. So yeah, there's the Pierce Invul effect that Musashi has. That would have been nice for the Soul Eater, but she didn't have Musashi back then, so. Alright, let's take a look at her decision making here. So let's see what she decided to do here. Might be backing up a little too much. Okay, so she has Musashi's MP. She also has Da Vinci's MP. She mainly uses Da Vinci's first skill just mainly defensively because again she realizes that Da Vinci is at kind of low HP, and so she gives her the guts to keep her alive at least for another turn, if in case like she gets like crit twice in a row by this Enforcement Knight is its name, even though the name is in question marks. That's what they're called, Enforcement Knights. We'll just call them Knights for short. So yeah, Da Vinci's first skill use is mainly defensive. Obviously, she uses Waver's attack buff to buff Musashi. And so the plan is she wants to use Musashi's MP here. Because Musashi has a single target MP, whereas Da Vinci has an AoE MP. AoE MPs have worse damage scaling compared to single targets. That's because, obviously, AoE, was what it sounds like, deals damage to everybody on the field. However, there's only one enemy on the field. So single targets are much better here. So that's why she wants to buff Musashi in particular, because Musashi has a single target MP, and she'll be more efficient in terms of damage dealing or in terms of DPS here versus Da Vinci. And so she uses, I believe, Da Vinci's first skill, like I said, defensively, Waver's attack buff, and then Musashi's second skill, which is a Pierce Invul effect and Buster buff, both for only one turn. And it's very lucky that her Musashi's card here is fully loaded on crits. It's a guaranteed crit. So this is perfect for Musashi. What would have made it better if we had another Musashi card here so that she can do a Brave Chain. but you know, we'll take what we can get. So she uses Waver's attack buff here.
It's been so
She's
long
checking
since
her.
I've been
She's
checking.
checking Musashi's third skill here, which gives her an invul, and I believe it removes her debuffs. I believe removes her debuff. It might also give her some stars. I didn't read the description quickly enough. So yeah, there you go. Uses her second skill, Pierce Invul, and Buster buff. She's using it mainly for the Buster buff, obviously, because this dude doesn't have Invul or Evade, so the Pierce Invul effect isn't gonna really do much. And what does she do here? Musashi MP, I believe she goes Waver and Musashi, yeah, like this. It's for the Buster chain. All right. So I think this is the right play. Yeah, this should be the right play. Buster chain for optimal damage. And she puts Musashi Buster card Anchor for the highest damage scaling. She already has Waver's crit buff from his first skill on Musashi still because it's for 3 turns, so it's going to do a lot of crit damage. Even if it's only, what, like 30% extra crit damage? Yeah, it's still going to be a whole lot. Yeah. This should do a lot of damage.
Yeah, I guess I have guild too. I forgot.
Her moves were actually good. For most damage. I mean, this turn, yes, yes. And this is Musashi's original MP form. Yeah, so it did a shit ton of damage there. Alright, so yeah, that's why she used that's why Ina used Da Vinci's first skill, because that guts brought Da Vinci back even though she died. And then yeah, because of the last enemy, she just blasts his ass with Da Vinci's MP, and this should be the end. And yeah, that should be more than enough, because she has Waver's attack buff and then her own MP damage buff, which is for both of which are for 3 turns.
We're fine. We're alive.
And yeah, there you go. So, overall assessment of Ina's FGO skill, if you want to call it that. Her play is indicative of the average FGO player. Like she makes some very classic mistakes, like starting off like putting solo Buster cards as anchor, which like generally you don't really want to do. That being said, she has an idea of what she's doing. Yeah, she clearly understands like some mechanics and like some things that she's doing. Yeah, especially when it comes to Buster cards. I wonder why that is, chat. But yeah, like this is this is about as much as I expected. It's actually kind of higher than like Ina has exceeded my expectations, because at the end of the day she only let Kiyohime die, and that's understandable because Kiyohime is a berserker and kind of expect berserkers to die really fast, because that's just kind of how they are in this game. So yeah, Ina actually did better than what I was expecting. Not by much, but like I'm glad to see that she remembers at least some stuff from back in the day when she used to play FGO, you know, more frequently. She did do a second battle after this that I'll also be analyzing, but I think for now this video's gone for this video's gone on for long enough, so I will just end it here. But yeah, I'm glad that Ina's playing FGO again. Again, it's the first time I'm seeing Ina actually play FGO in person, and you know, being a fellow whale myself, I was again interested in seeing how much of FGO she actually knows, which, to be blunt, isn't a lot, but you know, I can't really fault her alone for it, because almost nobody who plays this game knows what the fuck they're doing with this game. So yeah. That's all I gotta say. So, it was fun watching Ina play, and yeah, we got our next we got like a second quest, the second part of the first quest of Camelot that she also played, and we can go over that too, but we'll do that for later. Anyways, thanks for watching, chat, and thanks for watching YouTube. We'll see you guys in tomorrow's video. Peace.